I told my M40 wife, F38, that I will parenting our son on my own from this day forward. My wife is a proponent of soft parenting. If I translated the term into English correctly, she believes that children should not be scolded, punished. Whatever they do, you can't forbid something to children. You can't say no to children. She did not allow me to participate in our son's upbringing for all 8 years. If I tried to discipline our son, explain to him how to behave, teach him manners, my wife would immediately intervene and start criticizing everything I said. At the same time, I never argued with her about her parenting methods in front of our son, even if I didn't like them. If I asked my wife not to criticize my decisions in front of our son, she would ignore my requests. So, our son grew up to be a rather spoiled child who didn't know the word no. My wife always defended him and said that I can spoil a child's psyche with prohibitions. The only time she gently asked our son to stop misbehaving was when he tortured our cat. And even then, my wife kept quiet the whole time our son was doing it. Didn't let me interfere. And only when the cat scratched our son in the face, she groaned and said, "Oh, honey, maybe you should stop playing with the cat." Quote, usually my wife picked up our son from school because she works from home. But this time she couldn't do it and I went to pick him up myself. When my son went to put on his outer clothes, his teacher came up to me and said that she wanted to talk to me. It was a half-hour dialogue that gave me goosebumps. So, my son had organized the bullying of a boy at his school. This poor boy comes from a dysfunctional family. His parents drink. His clothes are old and dirty. He has even been visited by child welfare a few times, and since then he has been living with his grandmother. My son decided that this was a great excuse to bully this kid. But the worst part turned out to be that my wife was aware of it. The teacher said she talked to her several times, but she refused to take any action or tell me. Well, that was the last straw for me. I told my wife that her parenting methods were screwed up. So from now on we would use my parenting methods and she wouldn't mind. I think my son could use some sternness and explaining why bullying is disgusting. But now she's threatening me with divorce. What should I do so that my son doesn't grow into a horrible adult, but my wife doesn't leave me? Look up the effects of permissive parenting, as that is closer to what your wife is doing. What you described is not gentle parenting, and it's ruining your son. You also should have done something sooner about this. Both of you need parenting classes. I feel like you waited entirely too long to intervene. By age 7 personality is formed. Your son is going to need professional intervention. I don't think a stern talking to is going to do a whole lot. Particularly when the other parent in the house is likely to sabotage even the most mild form of discipline. There is a huge difference between gentle parenting and permissive parenting. Tell your wife to read a book and learn the bloody difference. You have both absolutely failed your child in different ways. Honestly, I'd let the marriage fall. She's had her way for years and raised a spoiled bully. I'd give her the ultimatum that it's your way now or you'll divorce her. That kid that's being bullied is likely to end up with mental health issues and possibly commit suicide later in life. Man up and do what needs to be done for your son, even if it means your marriage is over. I think your wife is aiming for gentle parenting and has fundamentally misunderstood how it works. Gentle parenting does not mean never disciplining or restricting a child. It means providing consistent and clear boundaries and rules without physical punishments and as much as possible without raising the voice. Is it possible to get your wife to watch videos or read articles about gentle parenting so she sees this point? Ideally, you should have agreed a parenting style much earlier. Spoiled children are not automatically cruel children. I have seen spoiled children who are perfectly capable of being good to their peers, even if they do throw tantrums when those peers don't do what they want. Spoiled children do not automatically go around torturing animals. Your son has passed the point of spoiled into cruel, but he's young and can hopefully be taught better. Is it possible to have a genuine discussion with your wife? Does she really think it's okay that he behaves this way? Ask her. If your son meets another boy who has also been raised this way who is cruel to him, is that going to be fine because it follows her parenting philosophy? Does she think your son is going to grow up to be a good person? What is she trying to achieve, and does she think she's achieving it? Dude, how on earth did you spend 7 years without any input in your son's behavior and now expect him magically become a better person because you finally got the guts to do your job? And yet, you are already backpedaling about it because your wife is treating you with divorce. You need some reality check. It's not only your wife who's responsible for your son's issues. It's you as well. You chose easy way to let your wife handle your kid, and then you can blame her for anything that go wrong. You are not even close enough to fix it by making yourself a main parent. You simply don't know how to parent at all after years of being a wallpaper. You need family therapy like yesterday, and your son need a professional help because his parents failed to take care of him. Accept the divorce. Your son is more important, and your narcissistic wife is creating a narcissistic child. He will be a danger to women with not knowing what no means. She did not allow me to participate in our son's upbringing for all 8 years. This right here is the problem. Parenting is always a partnership. Better late than never. Please reach out to a therapist for the child immediately, and also couples and family counseling. Also, be prepared for a lot of meltdowns. Both son and wife. When kids have never heard no in their life and never have had boundaries, it's not going to be pleasant for the child, especially when the mother is not on the same page and can enable the behavior and also badmouth you to pretend to be a better parent and twist the narrative in front of others. Also, you need to show your wife videos, body cam footages of entitled teenagers, adults who have never heard no, and check if this is the future she wants for your child. But now she's threatening me with divorce. Ideally, it should be the other way around. Get all the information from the school which is documented in case it does go for a custody hearing. Documents and collect evidence for each and everything, especially since she has threatened divorce. One point that will always come up is how uninvolved you were as a father to begin with. How to make a serial killer. My guy, I think it's time you put your child's well-being and future above your marriage. I know it's hard and it sucks, but you owe it to him. He has spent the last 8 years being told he's the best, he's special, and that he can do no wrong. The longer you allow this to go on, the harder it's going to be to undo. Good luck. Sorry, but this is rage bait. No one can be this stupid or this spineless regardless of the culture. You neglected parenting your child for 8 years. What the hell is wrong with you? All 3 of you need family counseling stat. And you should be ashamed for waiting this long. Your wife has likely permanently stunted your child's development. Honestly, you should have divorced her a long time ago. Normal, well-adjusted people do not raise children in this manner. Parents need to have an agreed partnership of parenting. You won't always agree with your partner, but you need to communicate with her and agree on the best for your child. The problem is you both seem to be at extreme ends of the spectrum of parenting, particularly her. And it seems like, rather than agreeing, you have just let her take the lead for years. Divorce is not going to solve this. It will only make things worse. Your son will have only her parenting for most of the time and will simply come to resent his time with you when more is expected of him. It's not the answer. But at the same time, if your child is a horrible bully and your wife sees nothing wrong with that, what does that say about the woman you married? Assuming she is a decent person, you have to get her to take off the rose-tinted glasses and see him for what he is becoming. It will really help if you approach this in a non-blaming way to her. Go into this with, "Your parenting has spoiled him. You are too soft," etc., and you will get rejection and pushback. Go into it with, "Our child is doing these unacceptable things and in danger of becoming unpleasant. I think we need work together on changing tack with parenting, and you are more likely to see agreement." Also explain to her if she chooses divorce you will seek full custody and bring up her lack of parenting. At the very least she will lose 50% of his time and you will be able to parent him as you see fit. Document everything, asking the teacher to detail in an email to you her efforts to deal with your wife and your son's behavior. A child who doesn't understand, no, will have a difficult time dating and working, and cause suffering to others. Shame on your wife. This should have been done way before 7. Soft parenter here. What your wife is doing is not soft parenting. What your wife is doing is called not parenting. You trying to explain why his behavior is incorrect, instead of yelling and screaming and time out, is soft parenting. What you should be doing is getting a divorce and filing for full custody. Why your wife is doing is child abide via neglect. Your wife lets him torture a cat. That is not not parenting, that's sadistic. My son's dad was your son. His mom would always defend him. There was no soft parenting, but he almost died as an infant, so his mom would excuse his behavior. Because of that, he always bullied people. He was spoiled and still is by her. So his mom remarried and his stepdad is a wonderful man. Did everything for them until he heard of the bullying. He told his wife that if she wanted to stay married he would discipline him. I'm not sure what he did. No hitting. But I believe Sam's ground rules were enforced. The bullying stopped. They're still married. Your son is heading for some real problems in his life. He is bullying fellow students and torturing the cat. Your wife is destroying this child. As an adult he will hear no and he will not be able to deal with that. Sadly, he is heading toward very antisocial behavior which could lead him to prison. You need to reverse this now, and if that means divorcing your wife, then so be it. It is better than watching your child grow up to be a terrible adult. Soft and gentle parenting still has consequences and discipline. It's just the consequences and discipline are more natural and reasonable. I feel like letting your kid grow up like that is neglectful.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.